Welcome. What you see here is the new components for my new build. I decided to do this after watching a Linus Tech Tip video where he built a desk and put the computer inside with a glass top, or I should say his dad actually built the whole desk. All Linus did was actually just mount the equipment inside and drill a couple of holes and throw some lighting on it. So I think he kind of cheated. So the purpose of this video is to prove that you can actually make a decent looking desk. I'm not artistic either, so my desk doesn't look that fantastic, but it looks good. Not embarrassed by it whatsoever. So anyway, he had his dad build the whole thing, you know, perfect measurements and everything. I mean, they did make a couple of mistakes, but they easily, you know, covered them up, and, you know, everything looked great. So he was also sponsored, so he got all kinds of fantastic stuff. I wasn't, so I'm limited with budget. So let's just say the desk itself was cheap. I already had a circular saw, a table saw, and a jigsaw. I had to buy the wood glue, buy the MDF, so the wood glue was $3-4. It's actually the Gorilla Glue. A piece of 4x8 3/4 inch MDF was $31. I think that's it. I decided to get to work. I needed a glass top, same as he did. Nothing on Craigslist. I found a nice coffee table for like $50 to $75, but I did not need a desk half the size of a bedroom. So I looked at Office Max, Office Depot, whichever one it was, and I found a computer desk for $150, glass top. Okay, fine. I was pricing glass, tempered glass, about the size of what I was looking for, and it was $400 to $700. Well, this is tempered glass, decent size, 100-pound weight capacity, more than enough for the top of this computer desk here. So, all right. With no tape measure in sight, just a drywall T-square. All the components here, RGB, that's a Ryzen 7 1700 8-core 16-thread processor. The X370 Gaming X Fatality. It actually has two RGB headers, and it'll actually does control the color of the master liquid. I don't need to install separate software for that. The board actually does control it. It actually has a water block RGB controller built into it, and two separate RGB connections. And of course the G-Skills unfortunately is not controlled by the motherboard. I had to load separate drivers, but we'll get to that. So anyway, I took the glass from the desk, set it on top of the MDF, took a marker, drew around the outside. I didn't have pens, I didn't have pencils, so I had to use a marker. So of course you have to kind of keep in mind when you're drawing the stuff, markers are, you know, kind of fat. I mean, it was a thin felt tip one, but still, you know, stay inside the line or outside depending on how big you want your stuff. So anyway, traced around it, cut it out, and that's what I ended up with. You can see in the corner, I don't know if the mouse is being captured or not, but you can see right there, you know, it's not perfectly straight. There's a little bit of a crookedness to it, not much. But again, I wanted to prove the average homeowner could build a desk without things being perfect and still turn out really nice. So anyway, there you have that. That's a big giant sheet of MDF. Now, I don't have anything of cutting the sides, so what I did was I did take the T-square, and I believe that's about 6 to 6.5 inches high, and I marked it off, and then I just took a circular saw and cut it. So I got two straight pieces, somewhat straight anyway, because they are just, you know, a little bit like that, you know. And I glued them, waited overnight, and there it is. You can still see the glue is white. It actually dries kind of clear, so that's pretty much just after I put the glue on. So then I also did the same thing for the sides. What I did was I took the same height, cut out the long piece just like those, and then I set it next to it and took the marker and just took it inside and went up with it, and then cut it, slid it in and glued it on both sides. And then, as you can see, I put the glass top on just to see how it fits. And there it is. I have my box. It's not perfect, but it is level. Because those little standoffs, they came with the glass. I have no idea how to get them off. I don't want to risk breaking the glass. I could probably heat them up because I'm sure it's just some kind of glue. Most of the websites say you can heat them up enough, you could probably peel them off, but it's really not worth it because in the long run, I'm actually using that whole surrounding area, that gap is actually how fresh air gets in the PC or in the in the case to keep things cool. And under normal circumstances, just surfing the desktop and stuff, the processor usually runs fairly cool. And the video cards, I'm running 2 GTX 1070s and SLI. The fans don't even kick on while I'm just sitting here watching movies, surfing the web and whatnot. When I'm playing games, usually just the first one kicks on. So anyway, there you have the box. And yeah, you can see I cut it wrong, so I slivered some pieces, cut some really thin ones, slid them in there, glued them into place. Again, I wanted to prove that anybody could do this and it'll come out looking nice. Just trust me. So then I started taking some components and started just setting them in there to see what things would look like. I decided I wanted to make 2 computers in here. So this was before I purchased the AMD stuff on the front page there that you saw the first picture. So I decided the left-hand side was actually going to be AMD and the right-hand side was going to be Intel. So the board that's up there on the left is actually now on the right-hand side. So it's like AMD versus Intel. So anyway, I was just kind of laying stuff out, seeing how I wanted it to look. And while that's not how things ended up, I did kind of like that look. And then I put the glass top on it just to get an idea. So now I cut the side. Now how I did that, I took that panel and I set it inside. Well, I put it on the motherboard, slid the motherboard in, and I just drew a box around it, pulled it back out, drilled a couple of holes, took my jigsaw, and just went around. And as you can see, it's crooked, it's not cut right. Again, I don't know if you can see the mouse, but if you look on that left edge, it's not even cut straight in, it's like cut in at an angle. Yeah, it's bad. So yeah, here's a better view. Yeah, see, look at that left-hand side, that's really bad. But the only way I could get it to stay in place was put the motherboard behind it to hold it in place. Now it stays in place by itself because I fixed all this. But I'll show you. So anyway, alright, and that's, see, the video card thing, crooked as can be. But again, this is to prove that the average person can do this. You don't have to be perfect, it'll still look good. Trust me. So anyway, if you see the left-hand side, the panel, it's actually looking nicer. Wood putty is an amazing thing. So I cut all that up on the left, put some wood putty on the bottom and on the left, let it dry, sanded it down. Now it looks a lot more like a box. So you can fix a lot of things. So there I straightened up the cut for the video cards and stuff. It looks a lot better. I do more work on it, by the way, so it does look even better than this when it's done. So anyway, there you go. So now I cut out for the power supply as well. Alright, and that's the side. What I did was I took some, what was that, 1/4 inch thick, was it, I can't remember if that's an inch or 2 inch wide piece of wood, and you can see I framed everything in. So the power supply, you just push it in. It's not actually being held by anything, but the wood around it comes down just enough to keep it from sliding out from the front. Otherwise, once you put the motherboard and everything in, it looks fine. You know, it looks good. And that's what it looks like from behind. The piece of wood on the left, that's to keep the power supply even on the back. It raises it up so it's level. There you have it. You know, I sand down a little bit more on the left-hand side there where the trim pieces come together, but otherwise, yeah, you can see it really doesn't look too bad. It turned out really nice for, again, no measurements. All these trim pieces, I put the wood up, drew a marker, jigsaw, you know, and then, you know, wood putty. So then I took the radiator, or I put the motherboard in place where I wanted it, and then I put the radiator over there and traced around the radiator. Then I set the fans in and stuck a marker in and went around the fan holes, so that way I would know where to drill. So then I cut some holes and then took the circular saw and went around it, because I was going to get a big hole saw, especially like the one Linus used, but I'm not paying $40 for something that big that I'm going to use, what, once? So circular saw, or jigsaw did just fine, especially since you're going to put the radiator on top and nobody's going to see it anyway. So now you can see I got both sides done for the, you know, I just reversed, of course, the opposite side, but I cheated. I put a piece of cardboard up there, traced inside it, brought it over to this side. You know, I cut it out with the scissors, then traced it over here, and then I just cut it out. And it was crooked, of course, too. So that's the side we've been looking at. That's not the, or no, that's the new side, I think. Yeah, either way, it works. Oh, that's the second side. There we go. The other one was the first side. This is the Intel side over here. And you see the gap at the top, which is where the video cards, the part where you would screw in the video cards and your PCI Express stuff. But you don't screw them in, you just put them up in there. And I took a little piece of wood as a shim, you know, to wedge them in place. Now the front panel, on the AMD side, I have, you know, all the USB ports and SD card reader stuff, the Type-C USB, and an eSATA. And there it is, red for AMD, blue for Intel. And you can see that it turned out nicely. And there's the front. You know, got a little bit of it's intentional overspray. But yeah, you got the blue and the red. Yeah, I got my garbage can too. But anyway, you can see that, you know, it turned out just fine. Doesn't look bad. Then I put the Intel and AMD logos in there. I just printed them out, took an X-Acto knife, cut them out, laid the paper down, and just spray painted. And there it is. And that's with the AMD as I started putting it together. You can see it looks nice, it looks clean, it looks nothing like those first cuts that you saw. And there it is, fired up for the first time. It's a 3 gigahertz processor, 8 core. And there it is as I clean up the cabling a little bit. Cabling cleaned up even more. And the final version. And now it's 3.8 gig, and the RAM is running at 3200. So yeah, it's overclocked. And there it is with the glass on it. And there it is with the lights out. It's just sitting on a couple of TV trays right now. Well, not right now, but in the picture it is. I actually have something else. And there's the motherboard. And now we're back at the beginning. So, let's see if we can make this bigger. Blow this up a little bit. And see if we can do this without making anybody sick. So here we have, with what was left of the MDF, I built a desk over here. So I got that sitting on it. And yeah, don't laugh over here because this is really bad, but the 2x4s over here to make up the legs. I gotta fix that, but here's the desk. I put another red fan in there to blow over the video cards just to help keep them cool. And here's the Intel side. It's really nasty. I haven't even turned it on yet because I don't have any LEDs or anything to be like red versus blue. But yeah, you too can build yourself a desk. Like I said, it looks good. It's not something I could sell to somebody probably, but it's not embarrassing to have around. It looks cool. I can say I made it. Didn't use a tape measure, didn't use a ruler, and I can't cut a straight line even if I tried anyway. I've even tried using the guard on the table saw to put the wood up against it and cut through. Still comes out crooked. I can't get the bar to get locked in place straight, so it wedges. So anyway, I know I've talked way too much. Hopefully you learn a little something about this, making this stuff yourself. If you have any questions, let me know. Be sure to help you as much as I can. Bye.